Recording. I love Indians. I'm 30% Indian.
What's up, guys? Episode still up for debate on the number 4 or 5 of the Foreign Exchange Podcast. We're back. I have Tamiem in front of me, Aaron to the left of me, and we are excited about this week. Got a lot of stuff go down, but before that, Ramadan Mubarak to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's are you guys gonna be fasting the whole month?
Yes,
That's
sir.
the plan.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Man, we have so many things to talk about. I have no idea where to start. I think the best way to start would be our social media. So, as a context, we have other socials. We're on along with YouTube. We're on TikTok and we're on Instagram as well. If you don't follow us, you should, because this week we were fortunate enough to have one of our videos go viral. We posted it, I think, on maybe Monday, Tuesday, and within 24 hours we had more than 150,000 views. I think it's currently sitting at 280,000, and it's a very simple. It's a very small clip from our last episode of Tamiem saying Salina is going to be 60 to 70% Indian in a few years.
It's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't know. We don't have the
faculty
data.
told me, bro. Faculty told me.
A faculty.
A faculty told me.
I don't know if how accurate that is, but it caused a lot of discourse on our social media. We have, I think, more than 1,000 comments maybe right now. It's up on the screen. It's sitting at 1,233 comments, and let me tell you, they're not pretty. The comments are not pretty whatsoever.
It really hit the Dallas algorithm, which was insane. Like everyone, I feel like I'm just seeing all my neighbors' comments on the comment,
and they're commenting opinions that you didn't know that they had.
No, I knew.
Oh, you knew?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm feeling it.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. If you guys don't follow us, like I said, follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. And if you want to check out this video, I'll have it on the link of this video as well, along with the link to all of our socials. But I think this is a point that we want to talk about, and just maybe to summarize what happened. We posted this video that, like I said, Tamiem, it's a soundbite of Tamiem saying a random faculty in Salina told him that they're going to be 60 to 70% Indian in a few years. And it felt like we had the entire DFW watch it and comment their opinions on it. And it felt like overwhelmingly a lot of people, especially the people that chose to comment, were against this idea or were already feeling, kind of the trends that we're talking about, and really had strong opinion on why this is not good. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this.
Opinion on the comment page?
Yeah, comment page. And I think it's, we started this platform, a conversation we all have is, what's our goal, right? And we always think it's, we want to educate, we want to inform, and we just want to talk about what people are feeling, whether it's locally, like here in Dallas in the DFW area, or maybe globally, right? And I think this is one of those topics that showed a lot of difference in opinions. We didn't think it was going to be like this. Yeah. So I think it's important for us to kind of go through it and talk. And
for sure,
like I said,
no, I mean, the comment section didn't surprise me at all. I think it's a lot of what the DFW, especially the native Texans, were feeling. But there were some comments for sure that were a little bit too racist, a little too not the nicest comments.
What was your most favorite racist comment?
My most favorite racist comment?
Well, no, I mean we'll go through that. We'll go through the comments.
I'm about to go off.
No. Listen,
You're good. You saved them.
No. We'll go through
the intro to this video.
We'll go through the comments. Clearly we tapped.
I'm ready, bro.
Clearly we tapped into something. I mean, we're just three guys making observations, talking shit, having fun. Like, we're having a good time. I know you had an immediate reaction, Sujan, to some of the comments. I think again, the clip is really an observation that that was shared by us, because we're, born and raised in North
We grew up
Dallas.
here.
We grew up here.
I
Like,
was born in McKinney Hospital, raised in Plano and Frisco area, went to Sherman, Texas for college. My first job was selling fireworks at Sanger, Texas. Like, I mean, we grew up here, and we are seeing, the
we grew up
demographic
here. Our
change.
family's been here for half a century, almost 50 years. And so we're seeing the demographic change. He makes, a comment on it, and clearly it taps into something.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're newer to Dallas.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those comments and a lot of, the reaction and the traction that we've gotten from this video, made you feel even a type of way, right? So, why don't you kind of share, your feelings and just what maybe things that you have to say about the culture, that's at hand right now.
Yeah, unlike you guys, I was very surprised. I have personally not felt the same opinion when I moved. So maybe as a pretext, I moved to Dallas in 2016. So maybe right when Frisco and this North Dallas area was booming. And to me, it felt like I was able to adjust. I moved from New York City, so a melting pot of all these different cultures and ethnicities coming in together. And when I moved to Dallas, I didn't really feel that it was that it was a place that was not welcoming. I felt I was very welcomed. I met a lot of great people. And, when I talked to my friends back home, a lot of the conversations we had were around surrounding, how accepting the people and the communities in Dallas were. And personally, for me, I've never felt that way. And, we make fun and educational comments all the time about, maybe Indians or brown people needing to assimilate and adjust and kind of fit in, right? So I felt like I've always fit in, and I've never had to deal with anybody coming up to me and saying, you don't belong here. And when I saw overwhelming amount of comments talk about how it's not a good idea and how it's impacting Salina, or in this case, the neighboring cities in a negative way, I could not disagree with that more. I think a major reason for the North Dallas area development is the Indian community. And to me, I don't understand why that's a bad idea. We all look for a sense of community. We all look for a place where we can fit in, right? These are people, most Indians that come to America come under some type of a work visa. Predominantly H-1B, which means they're coming in as skilled workers. The U.S. government saying, hey, we have a shortage of skilled workers, primarily in tech, right? They come in and they contribute to the local economy. They contribute to the economy of the entire country, and they're adding value. I think that value is being overshadowed by maybe some of the things that even we find annoying in the things that, maybe Indian people or brown people in general do. But the point is, there is a lot of positivity to Indian people moving to these communities. I saw a specific comment that addressed the schools, how football is going to be gone and cricket is going to be the next high school sport in North Texas. I don't know if that happens, but school is there for academics. And why is it a bad idea for there to be students and for there to be ethnicities enrolled in those schools that prioritize academics? We don't send our kids to school and say, hey man, don't learn anything, don't study anything. I think it's a great thing for our schools to perform better in academics. I understand Texas has a culture, particularly in high school, where sports are prioritized a lot, but with the Indian and brown community moving into these areas, we're going to excel in academics as well. And it might impact sports here and there, but the positive news is when they're moving in, they are influencing the communities in a positive way. The local economy is progressing. They are spending money buying houses. Maybe if you lived in Salina and Frisco all your life, you bought a home maybe 10 years ago for $200,000. You're seeing the value of that, where your home might have tripled or quadrupled over the past decade. So with all these positive impacts Indians are making to the North Dallas area, I think the people that showed disagreement, that people that showed, kind of really let us hear what their true opinions were, I think they don't see the value in there. I think they just see it in a very shallow perspective where, oh, Indians are moving in and they're taking over. They want to fit in. It's not wrong for people to want to fit in.
Do they want to fit in?
Yeah, they want to be in areas where they have an easier time fitting in, right? You guys said you were born here. I can tell you from somebody who had to move here, it's not easy. As somebody who's new in a new place, it's not easy.
Okay, I mean, being born here and being a real minority, the experience of growing up wasn't necessarily easy. It's not like we had it like super easy. We were kind of outsiders to the normal kind of Texan. I mean, a lot of my friends are like 6th, 7th, 9th generation Texans, right? And over time, what you learn is like, yeah, there's some teasing and there's some bullying and there's differences, but you kind of understand that there's actually a lot of things that, make us very similar in terms of our values, being very conservative and being super family oriented. I agree with a lot of what you said in terms of the comment section highlighting kind of the negative aspects and not the real value that's brought to the table. But I think it clearly tapped into something that is a feeling that exists where is it still diversity if it's just one group in these big of waves, 80 to 90,000 people at a time? Like you say that, oh, maybe we'll go from football to like, cricket, but, it is what it is. It's like, no. The culture of Friday Night Lights and football, that's part of the culture of what this identity of this town is. And if people are not happy about that changing, I think that's okay. Now, again, the comments, crossing lines and just being, racist to be racist, like, or to me is like, I'm not interested in that. Some of the comments are funny. Like I can laugh at some of the comments. They're funny. There's just, it's one of these things where these stereotypes that are in the comment section are things that, I want to kind of go through and see, how real they are, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're moving in bunches, listen, everyone has an affinity to their own people, ultimately. Everybody, right? So if waves of Indian people are here, do they care more about their white neighbor or do they care more about their Indian neighbor? So you have to ask yourself that question, right? And then how can you expect a group of people to be so tolerant to allow so much to come and not feel a type of way about it? If, again, raising the bar in the school education system, raising, the market value of the homes, there's a lot of value that should be highlighted. And there are a lot of comments in the comment section that discuss those things. Do they have the same type of likes and engagement as the more kind of hateful comments? No, but I think people maybe found a voice within the comment section of the chat because people are thinking about this, but no one's really having this conversation. And we're having the conversation. Really, none of us are, again, our family's been here for almost 50 years, born and raised. Like, we are Texan through and through, Tamiem and I, like, we believe in that. But even to like an everyday white American or white Texan, we might look like outsiders just because of our, aesthetic look. And that's fine. Like, I don't hold too much onto those types of things. I focus on like the reality of the situation. And, I do want to kind of pivot and highlight those comments and discuss some of these comments. But before we even jump into that, I want you to kind of finish your thought on just how you feel about it all together.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments you've made, but I think it's a very, there's a double standard going on here, right? When we don't mention other ethnicities creating a community and their willingness or their desire to create a community and them creating the community, and we don't critique that the same way we're critiquing Indians right now. Let's look at Carrollton. We have the entire Carrollton is known as K-Town, right? Has anyone ever said the Koreans are taking over Carrollton and it's a bad idea?
Koreans are not coming 80, 90,000 at a time a year to North Dallas. That's not happening.
Right. But what I'm also saying is just the idea of somebody creating a community and an entire city being known after a certain group of people, we don't say that that's a bad thing. We say, and the 80, 90,000 that are coming are also not coming to just Frisco and Salina. They're coming all over.
But it feels like it. It feels like it's coming to Frisco and Salina.
Maybe it feels like it.
But it definitely is
north of
North
Coit.
Dallas.
If you go north of Coit past
Dallas.
121, if you go north of Coit past 121, it feels like it's just
The
that
air,
area.
the color
The
of
90
the air is changing.
the 90,000 Indian immigrants that are coming to
What color is the
DFW.
air?
No, I mean anyone could get the jokes.
Yeah.
Anyone could get the jokes.
No,
Like
I
you
mean,
gotta have
yeah.
when you come to America, you gotta have thick skin, and you have to adopt the culture as well
Yeah.
as give the culture. Listen, you make the comment about K-Town and Carrollton. Obviously, it's an awesome thing to have different parts of the city that have these different cultures as mainstays,
Right.
because guess what, it brings new food, it brings new sources of entertainment. It's exciting. The diversity of the food scene in Dallas, North Dallas has picked up, and there's just more options.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to like a lot of these people talking shit in the comment section, like, have you gone to Katie Roll? Like, have you had some of this food? Like, it slaps.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. But that's a separate conversation from what we really tapped into is of this like overall just like change that's happening. And there should be accountability, because there are things that are happening in North Dallas gyms, in North Dallas streets, that are coming from this one culture of people that's overwhelming in numbers. The volume is higher, so the incidents are higher naturally in this group, right?
But I think addressing their actions is very different than addressing the fact that they're here, right? Like Indians being here inherently is not a bad thing.
No, I
which
agree.
is what majority of the comments to me felt like that's what that's what they were trying to say, or that's what they were saying flat out.
Well, it's just this
They're coming and they're changing it up. And Texans,
it's this feeling, right? You have a house.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 people in the house. You let one person come in of a specific background. We'll say one brown guy, one Indian guy, and then you let another 4 Indian guys, and then another 6, and now the house is more Indian than it is anything else.
Right.
I think that's the core feeling that these people are holding on to, that it's like becoming one thing, right? It's not becoming this melting pot, diverse all over.
But how much are we as and I'd like to think that I'm also a Texan, because my entire time in America, I've lived in Texas more than I've lived in New York officially, I think, as of 2 years ago. So I definitely would like to consider myself a Texan, because my friends in New York call me a Texan.
Okay, what's your favorite Texas food? Texan food.
That's a good point. I really like Hard Eight's barbecue.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Barbecue's barbecue. That's good.
Barbecue.
So Texans don't like people coming here and changing things up. That's like a Texan thing.
But this is not an Indian thing that has happened.
No, but
though, right?
if Californians came 100,000 of them at a time and lived in the colony or Frisco, Texans would be like, "Yo, I don't like this."
But
like,
they did.
And
During
they don't
COVID.
like it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
If you tell them, like, do you like Californians coming to
But
Texas?
it was never racial with Californians. It was just, Californians are coming. They're spending a lot of money and buying
Well,
up
it's
homes
because
in cash.
California's is ambiguous. Like, it could be so many different
Yeah,
types of
absolutely.
people, right? I mean, and again, it's
But
it's
the
not
Texans
like I agree.
benefited from that, is what I'm trying
I
to
agree
say.
with your. I agree with what you're saying, that like the language needs to change, and how these feelings and are being articulated needs to change, because it's not doing a clear job of sending a message. I mean, there are people in the chat, so whenever you finish your thought, I want to just kind of go into some of the comments and like unpack the comments and see what they mean, right? And try to like educate you can educate us. We can have this kind of banter and back and forth, because ultimately we got love for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
We got love for everyone, everybody, Indians included.
And I'm defending Indians, but we'll roast Indians on this podcast,
and they're
we'll
so
continue to
sensitive about it. They get a little roast and they just like turn
you
up.
think so? I mean, there are a few clips we posted where on that top 5 list, Indians were not happy that they were number 5. They wanted to be number 1 on that top 5.
we got a lot of Indian followers from this video.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're getting a lot of Indian hate. But I
we
mean,
want mainly white followers. That's the thing. We want Texan followers with a small percentage of. No, I'm just kidding.
I think to finish my thought, and I've been thinking about this the whole week, why that is, why there's such a strong opinion on Indian people and against Indian people. And my honest opinion on this is jealousy. Indians are some of the smartest people in the whole world.
Again,
wait, why do you say that?
Listen,
though?
listen.
Why
I immediately
why do you
have
say
to.
that they're
I-
some of the smallest?
Their influence
But why do you
and
say that, though?
contribution
This is the Indian
to
mindset,
the global.
bro. They think that like they're elite.
Why-
they have
why
like
do
an
you-
elitist
why
mindset.
do you
like
think
they
that
hate us
they're the
because they
smartest?
ain't us.
And I'll
We're
tell you,
smart. You guys are dumb.
They're hardworking, okay, fine, but
No,
smart.
not
like,
they are some of the most intelligent people in the whole world.
dude, there's a billion of them. Of course, they're going to be some of the most intelligent people. But
you don't
they're
make the same
outnumbered.
argument in athletics. You don't say, "Oh, there's a billion of them." In NBA, that's why they're good. They're
I'm
not,
just-
right? This is
No,
what their
but-
priority
and-
is.
you
Okay,
say
Their
yeah.
influence on the
Let 'em
tech
finish,
world,
'cause I'm
their
about to
influence
rip.
on their influence on the tech world and what they're contributing to our society in terms of technological advancement. I don't think any other group
Listen, I
is
love
able to
Indians.
contribute
I
as
love
much.
Indians. I'm
And
30%
if Indians
Indian.
were to be
I did my
gone
20
today, our
I-
society would collapse.
I did 23andMe. I'm 30% Indian.
Yeah,
okay?
this side of
I
the
grew
room
up. I grew up. I grew
Without
up.
Indian,
I
the
grew up-
world is
smells
ending
bad.
without Indians.
I grew up watching the Bollywood movies, watching Shah Rukh Khan, pretending to be like him. Like I loved it. I honestly loved it. And I grew up on road trips. We would play it all the time. Like
Not me.
Yeah, you
wasn't
too.
there.
Stop trying to run away from the fact. Stop trying.
Like, I don't
we
listen.
loved both me and him loved Bollywood movies. Okay, so we
No,
love
no, no.
Indians. But to say that there, a billion of them are the most intelligent people, it just there's a billion of them. So
Yeah.
the number, they're going to be the most intelligent. They're also going to be the dumbest, right? Like because of the amount of Indians there are
but
in
the
the
Indians
world.
that come to America, the ones that are coming to Texas, are
Right.
are the more of like the best and brightest than it is.
Absolutely. That's
than
the
it
point
is
I'm trying to
the
make.
other side.
I'm
like,
not talking about Indian globally. I'm talking about the Indians that you're seeing here.
are the best. We're getting the best ones here, but that's
right.
not why the people are upset. They're not. It's not rooted in jealousy. It's rooted.
That's
in,
exactly what it is.
No, it's not.
The Indians
It's
are coming
rooted in. They're the
Indi-
smartest. They're also the smelliest. That's why they're mad. They're walking on the street in the middle of the night.
It's the
They can't
smell of
drive.
intelligence. You've never smelled it.
Nah, dude,
That's
like,
why you're feeling this
Read
way.
okay, we're gonna go into the comments now. Because for real, we're at.
They do walk in the middle of the night in the middle of the street though. That's for sure.
So we got to go into the comments, right? So I'm gonna just start with. I'm gonna start with going through just like different comments that got good traction. And just have the conversation, right? So the top comment, well, it's not the top comment, but the one that's at least here on the top of the list is that, yeah, North Dallas is basically Pakistan. Okay, Nick. I mean, that's not even right. It's Indian. But okay, you're going to say Pakistan.
Pakistan's not the same as India.
Yeah, it's not the same. And you got to kind of get your facts straight, brother. But there are Pakistanis, I guess. But it's not part of the conversation that we're having.
Nick proves the point of what I'm talking about, which is Indians are smarter. They understand the difference between Pakistan and India. Nick is here calling Indians Pakistanis, which, by the way, you might as well call us Indians, right? At that point, I'm sure he is. By the way, when Nick watches this podcast,
No,
he's
Nick's my
gonna say-
boy. No, Nick's my boy. My boy. He's good.
Nick watches this podcast. And
Afghans
says, "These
are
three
basically
Indians."
Indians. Pakistanis are basically. We're all basically.
We're
the
all
same.
basically Mexican.
We're all basically Mexican.
No, okay, so there goes the football program, 2,000 likes. There goes a football program with 2,000 likes. I thought that was funny, but they're gonna rock in cricket school. Those are also getting a lot of likes.
Yeah,
Again,
cricket is the top. Is globally, cricket is a top 5 sport. Let's welcome it. Why are we against welcoming it?
because Indians don't know about Friday Night Lights. They don't know about real Texas
Friday Night
football,
Lights
a
to
man's
be
sport.
Have
They don't know about a
have
man's
you guys
sport.
heard about IPL? The IPL is probably 1,000 times the
we're
magnitude.
gonna get to cricket.
Yeah.
Indians are not on
Yeah,
the top of that. I'll tell you
think-
somewhere.
I think white people need to find out about cricket. Then they're really gonna see, what sport.
Every other car with the please be patient student driver. Now this 500 likes. Tamiem talked about this in another video prior to this
Okay,
post
let's
even
be
going
honest
viral.
now. Let's be honest. Ever since we brought it up, have you guys been noticing these stickers?
Not me, bro, because
I
I'm in South Dallas and
He's
South
in the-
Dallas.
He's
we
in
don't
the
got
rich
too
part of that
we
one.
don't got too many of them. We don't like
the
them
gated
cons around there.
the gated community.
So I haven't seen it, but that's
Keep 'em
hilarious.
up north.
Okay, Alan Dickens. Alan Dickens went hard in the chat. He brought a lot of facts, a lot of feelings as well. He's feeling a type of way. All of North Texas has become Little India, and no one voted for this. That's almost got 1,000 likes. Again,
What do you mean no one voted? First of all, Americans, primarily, on the conservative side, for the longest time have had this grudge against Mexicans because they come here illegally. They send, their worst, right? Indians are coming here legally. They're contributing to the society, and they still have the same opinions. How could that be the case?
If you ask a real Texan, would you rather a Mexican, an Indian, or a California person come to Texas? They're going to say Mexican. They're going to say, I would rather have a Mexican
What are
come
you
to
talking
Texas
about? They're literally building a wall in Texas to keep the Mexicans out.
That's fake news, man.
Yeah,
Fake news.
Don't believe everything.
We
you
love
read, bro.
Mexicans in Texas. We love There's
Yeah.
Tex-Mex. There's no
Tex-Mex
India
is not even
Tex.
real Mexican.
It's not. There's no India Tex because they want to just make it Indian food because they don't want to assimilate.
Texans love Mexicans.
Do you understand? They don't want
Indian
to
food is
assimilate.
delicious. What is wrong with that?
But they don't want to
See-
assimilate. They don't want to be Indian Tex
Yeah,
food.
see, Texan
Tex
food is
Indian.
not. See, Texan food is not good. So you got to
It's
attach it
coming
to the
soon,
Mexican
though.
food.
Huh?
It's coming soon, though.
No, they got to make some
No.
fusion food.
They
Mix
don't-
the foods.
why
Mix
do
the
they need to-
culture. Like,
Indian
what are they
food-
doing?
Indian food by itself is top 3 cuisines in the whole world.
Top 3 smelly cuisines.
What are you talking about? It's
No,
amazing.
the number one selling item in Trader Joe's is an Indian dish, I'm pretty sure.
It's their tikka masala sauce, man. I'm telling
the
you.
chicken tikka masala sauce.
Yeah, and
It
it's
hits.
good.
It's my favorite thing at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
See, Texans,
But I
attach
can't
them-
leave the house for 48 hours after I eat it. So that's I can't. I mean, it's good and it's worth it. I'm buying it every
Just tells
time.
me you have a
Yeah,
weak stomach.
speaking
But-
of tikka masala, my holy tikka masala comment got lots of likes too. Lots of love in the comments. I mean, there are more likes in the
Look at
comment
Miggy.
section.
Miggy
There are more.
understands
Listen,
the value.
there are more likes in the comment section than there is likes of the video. So it's pretty insane to like do the math there. But yeah, I mean, there's
The
some
videos didn't get that much likes, but it got shared like
holy tikka masala, almost 100 likes there. That's awesome. So a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of comments.
Have you
know,
been to Costco in Frisco? Has anyone been to Costco in Frisco? That one I loved.
Yeah, you can find me
because
there.
You can
I'm one of
find
them.
all of the student drivers. It's a parking lot of student drivers at the Costco. Like,
Listen, you go to the Costco in Frisco, and you tell me if we're in a diverse country or an Indian country. Do you understand that there's a difference?
it's facts.
There's a difference. And this is the thing. It's like, I love my Indian brothers. Like, you don't have to be sensitive about this because it's real. Like, it's a real thing that's happening. And if there's so much of one thing, naturally there's going to be pushback on that one thing. There are going to be the ones that are going to be critiqued, like stripped apart, because in numbers, you know, they're taking over. They're changing the demographic, the businesses, the schools. The
For the better.
culture is changing.
For the better.
According to you,
No,
right?
according to all data.
No, but you're saying cricket's better than football.
No, I'm not saying cricket.
That's what I'm saying. No, football's way more
well,
American.
I'm saying cricket has a higher viewer number globally than
But are
football.
you where are you living? Globally? Global?
What do you mean? You can't live in your own bubble. You got to look out in the whole world.
So
you can have that perspective.
Okay,
right?
so the culture is supposed to be so tolerant that it just absorbs another culture and strips its own culture away. Do you understand how that's problematic? Do you understand?
No, we're not talking about just make it all Indian. That's not what we're talking about.
Well,
right?
this is the issue that these people are having. Again, a lot of people in this comment section, they want the Indians out, and then they'd want us out next.
Yeah.
Like I know that
You guys are Indians to the comment section. You understand?
No,
this?
we're
I'm
not,
30%
bro.
Indian.
We're Texan.
I am.
And after they watch this, they'll
Nick is
understand
gonna
how
be- Nick is
Texan
gonna
we
be
are.
watching this
I'm a
podcast.
licensed
Listen.
gun holder.
My first
I'm a
car,
Texan.
16.
License to hold
My
a gun in
first car,
Texas.
16
But I
years
am.
old, was a lifted Chevy. Okay, Silverado.
Lifted. My
Lifted.
first car was a Jeep. What was your first car? Prius?
a Kia Sportage. Not for real.
Lifted Chevy
It-
over here. All right,
yeah,
it's the Ferrari of Texas.
This is a
lifted
2011.
truck.
All right. All love.
2011 Kia Sportage.
All love. We clearly
100,000 miles.
Listen, we clearly tapped into something. There is one more just specific thread that I want to go over because it's hilarious. So this is under the chain of Alan Dickens' comment. And I thought this was just like a hilarious back and forth. So Kelsey S. and exclamation point had just an awesome little back and forth where it kind of showcases the feelings that people are having here, right? And essentially in the comment section, there's a conversation between two people. One person's name is just an exclamation point. The other person's name is Kelsey S. And I think it's a good snapshot of like the dialogue that even we're having. and kind of the difference of opinion that people might have on said take. Listen, I have no like, hey, there's enough Indians here, no more Indians. Like, that's not my feeling. It's like the more the merrier. Fine, sure, but like understand if there is a majority of this one group, that group is going to be criticized and picked apart more than any other group, and that if they're not assimilating to the culture here, that the people that are from here are not going to be happy about it. They could add value, they can bring value, and there could be shared shared learnings, because ultimately America is a melting pot, and that's what makes it the best country in the world. It is the most tolerant country in the world. They do allow for so many things, and I think there's a lot of Texans with the mindset of, don't confuse my kindness for weakness. Like, just because we're really kind people and we're really open doesn't mean we're weak and we're going to let you take over. And there's like a fundamental feeling that exists there that is understandable. Again, the racist comments, the extra stuff, that stuff's extra. It is what it is. Who cares? If it's funny, then I'll laugh. You can be funny. Right. If you're racist and funny, then you're funny. Yeah. If you're racist and not funny, then you're racist. Yeah. Those are the rules.
I mean, we make some comments, for the sake of just, getting a laugh. I think it's important to be able to. It's important to be comfortable with yourself. That you can be made fun of. I think that's shows that you're
and that's a thick-skinned thing that I think the Indian culture needs to learn, because there is this elitist mindset that they feel like, oh, you're just jealous because we're smarter, we make more money, we do all these things.
Big facts.
Okay, this is a mindset, but also you're the smelliest people. That's also a thing.
Smell of intelligence.
The smell money. Of musky, non-hygienic ways of the culture, the sandals, the feet out, the walking in the middle of the street, student driving. Those are the reasons people are upset too. It has nothing to do with jealousy.
Can I say?
Pull up that comment about Las Colinas, bro. Now that we talk about that.
Oh, yeah. There's one of
the first ones.
There's a comment. Imagine living in Las Colinas. They're everywhere but the deodorant aisle. Damn. You know what I mean? And like a lot of these comments, again, some are racist, crossing a line. Some are stereotypes that if you ask people, they will confirm.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, like in the middle of the night when I'm driving in my neighborhood, there's groups of Indians walking in the middle of the street together. Yeah. Like, it's not India. Like, you can't do that stuff. It's a liability. It's an issue.
Yeah. They need to walk on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They need to walk on the sidewalk.
They do. They just need to be on the side.
But listen,
they're walking in the middle of the street.
I think it's
middle
like
of the
in a big group too.
In a big group in the middle of the night, bro.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it, right? If you're driving fast in the middle of a neighborhood, the chances of you hitting an Indian,
especially at night, improper lighting and all that. But I want to say one thing, and this is directed to Indians and brown people in general, right? We are in a place. We came to America. We came to Texas because there's a lot of value that the place adds that perhaps we weren't getting or that we want to get. And it's important for us to make the others that were there in that place or that are there in that place comfortable with us being there. I think that's our responsibility, because we're coming into an infrastructure that was built already, right? And a lot of people have spent efforts and built communities in those areas. And it's important for us to make sure that we assimilate. Don't walk in the middle of the street, in a group of 5, 6, 7 people, walk on the sidewalk. If there is a stereotype of Indians or brown people, right, of being smelly, not using deodorant, focus on the hygiene, get rid of those stereotypes. I think if a lot of people are feeling a certain way, I agree that there has to be truth to it, right? It's not a small minority that is feeling that way. So whatever those concerns are, I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we make the people around us feel comfortable. And ultimately, I think that's what the comment section was highlighting, is they're uncomfortable. And as somebody who's coming in, we need to take the first step to do that. Now, similarly to the Texans, brown people are not here to take over. They're here to be part of the community, to live in those communities, and add value to those communities. We're seeing that. Frisco, Salina, Prosper have been some of the fastest growing cities in the whole nation, right? If you lived here maybe 3-4 years prior, you are benefiting economically. There are more businesses here than ever. The development that is happening in North Dallas is faster and bigger than any other city or cities in the whole country. Help them assimilate. And what I mean by that is, go talk to Indians. I don't be afraid of going and talking to Indians. If you have an Indian neighbor, feel free to welcome them.
No, but
to
most
a barbecue.
Texans, it's called being Southern gentlemen. It's a thing. Again, this is a culture here in Texas. Southern comfort, Southern hospitality, right? This is the culture that they're coming to, right? From a culture that maybe isn't as, how accommodating is India to outsiders? How accommodating are those groups of people?
India is very accommodating to foreigners.
And
if you go as a foreigner, I can tell you, if you guys go to India as foreigners, you'll be welcomed with open arms. And I have lived in India for 3 months. I visited there. I think over the past 3-4 years, I've visited a couple of times a year. And every time I've gone, in terms of the hospitality and how people treat me, I don't think I've been treated that well anywhere. Not even by my own family.
Stretch.
No, seriously. This.
Maybe I believe that. I mean, I've been contacted by Indian agents to do some Bollywood stuff, but I said no because nah. That's JV. I'm varsity. I want to go for the Hollywood shit. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I love what you said there. I think that's really important. I think the one thing I have that I will like push back on is it's not up to Indians or it's not up to the Texans to come to Indians to educate them and like have to reach their arm out. They're already letting them in. They're already open to it. It's not like a choice like we're going to let you in or not, but they are tolerant, very tolerant people. Like and they're very good family oriented people, and if listen, like a lot of this newer wave comes in and they're willing to learn, they're willing to dress right, dress appropriate in different social settings, going to the gym wearing gym clothes, going to work wearing work clothes, being at home wearing your home clothes, and not bringing your home clothes to work or bringing, because again, it's not just an aesthetic, but there's kind of purpose behind each thing that you do in this culture, and it's not just like a free for all, right? And I want to kind of close here on this thread. I found the thread that I was looking for. So this Kelsey says, Indians moving to North Texas are new to America. These aren't American-born Indians. Spend a week in any neighborhood in Prosper or Salina and you'll understand. Stop with your white savior complex. Why are you so afraid to admit race matters? Race plays a huge factor in every aspect of our lives. I suppose that's difficult for a white teenager like you to understand. Thank you for saying that if we lose diversity, we will lose the soul of America. 70% in one school is losing diversity. Funny how you think diversity is only lost when it's majority white. I think that's the main comment that I was like looking for, because this is the core feeling that people are having, that it's one group in masses completely taking over a part of Dallas that traditionally looked differently. Like change is always uncomfortable, and it's okay for change is okay and it's welcomed. And over time, like we learn to live with each other and we all learn from each other and we all grow. And that's what makes this country the best country in the world. But if this is what's happening and there's a natural tendency for this culture not to assimilate and to have affinity to their own people, then they're turning this part of the world into their part of the world slowly. And I think that's the real pushback. But I want to just use this platform to talk shit and have fun with it. Ultimately, that's what we're doing. So I want to do a quick little segment where we do.
Wait, you didn't even show Kelsey's best comment response, the mic drop moment of the whole comment feed.
Which one is that?
When she was like, guess what?
Oh yeah. So if you keep going through the comment, and we'll post it, and you guys should go and re-engage and read because it is super entertaining. But exclamation point, he's also a smart dude with some smart takes. Like he's got some good things. He's also a man of the people. Seems like he's a white dude, but he's like really like hard, standing up for the Indians. And that's, again, it showcases the beauty of this country, right? And, he's got some takes about like, listen, you need to learn more about being diversified. And there's a little bit of jabbing back and forth. I like to bet you haven't had more than 1-2 interactions with Indian new to America. Please explain, as a 23-year-old white boy, why you love Indians so much. It's kind of weird, to be honest, from Kelsey. Exclamation point goes, race absolutely matters. Kelsey, I'm 23, already have a bachelor's, and I'm about to get my master's. Your entire 60-year-old lead poison segregated school existence. Like, he's got more diversity than her. And then Kelsey with the mic drop. Hate to break it to you, but I'm 30 and I'm biracial. And oh my God, Evan, are you ready? I'm married to an Indian man. Mic drop.
Yeah, but it's like 10% Indian.
Savage.
No, maybe it was an American born, whatever it is. But I think that kind of showcases that even Indians feel a type of way about under other Indians. And like, again, it comes from a place of accountability of like, hey, like, we have to be better. I think it's sometimes uncomfortable to tell somebody the things that they're not doing right because it makes you feel like you're attacking them. And that's not the point. It's not like to attack. It's to kind of better educate so that, listen, if we're going to come in waves, like, let's do the things. There should be kind of like an onboarding session to everybody that moves here where it's like, hey, here. An orientation. Like, listen, here, people care if you smell bad. They really care. They care if you have your feet out. They care if you drunk, if you drive or if you walk in the middle of the street. I think people should have grace to new drivers and new people learning to drive. I think it's nice that they put the stickers on because they're at least giving you a heads up.
You think like they would teach people like how guns work at this orientation?
Yeah, I think they should learn how to barbecue.
What to say.
Bring the chicken curry to the barbecue.
Yeah.
Bring the curry to the barbecue. Let's fuse the food. It'll be fire. It'll be fire. But like,
Tex Indian?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tex Indian.
Yeah.
But you don't see that. You just see Indian because they don't want to assimilate. Whereas there is Tex-Mex and there is like a level, like, Mexicans are proud to be Texan. There's a level of pride. Yeah. And I think that's what's cool about Texas. Pride is big. Like, you should be proud Texan. It's like, you'll see the what it means over time. The more you live here, the more you understand that over time. That like,
I feel proud to live in Texas. I think the state has provided a lot of opportunities for myself and my family. Made great relationships here. Been part of a really cool community. So I definitely agree with that. I think the last thing I'd like to say on this topic, without kind of stretching it any further, is I think the whole idea of diversity is lacking is kind of sending mixed signals to me. As a country, and I don't want to get political, but we got rid of our DEI, saying it doesn't matter, it should be merit-based. And to me, what's happening now is a merit-based system where people are coming in and they have the ability to go purchase homes. They have the ability to, and it's very expensive, by the way. Frisco, Salina, Prosper, you're looking probably at an average home, even McKinney, average home value of $600,000, $700,000 now. So you have neighborhoods and communities where it's really hard to come in and be part of. And if people have the financial capability to be able to do that, they should do that. I think this is a true example of a merit-based system, and why we're unhappy with it is it's benefiting one particular type of culture that we don't want. So ultimately, when we say no, but we don't want it to be diverse, we want it to be diverse. To me, what that really sounds like is we just want to be one group of people. As long as it's that group of people, it's fine. But anybody besides that group of people, if it becomes, all Indians,
and it's not diverse just by definition. If it's one group of any people, it's not diverse by definition.
But Texas has been. North Dallas has been a group of the same ethnicities for the longest time.
But so is India.
What do you mean?
India's mainly Indian.
No. What I'm saying is, but in India, you don't hear these complaints. So foreigners are coming; they welcome you with open arms. The point that I'm trying to make.
But America is a meritocracy, and they do a good job of being the best at what they do.
Nobody's giving handouts.
But there are so many cases of organizations hiring Indians and then Indians being in hiring positions and prioritizing hiring only other Indians. Mm-hmm. That these are things that are happening as well. They give the opportunity to their own people. They have affinity to their own people, mm-hmm. and this is the kind of slippery slope that a lot of the commenters, and again, this is something that I'm aware of as well in the line of work that I'm in. I know it's a thing. Everyone has affinity to their own people. It's not just one group. So naturally that's going to happen. So if this place has 9-10 generation Texans that are starting to miss out on opportunity, not only because of meritocracy but because of an overwhelming kind of change in culture shift, they're going to feel a type of way, right? So I think we're on the same page here that,
Yeah.
that there could be grace on both sides. There can be empathy on both sides, and there could be education on both sides. I think, listen, my Texans, go try Katie roll. It's so good. There's so many different Indian spots that you guys need to go hit. We're gonna try to showcase some here that we like. To better educate. There's a couple of comments in the chat that we didn't get to. There are a lot of positive ones. They just didn't get the same type of activity and like and engagement. But a lot of them are like, hey, let's talk about the good food spots if there's so many Indians. Like, where is the best spot? And like, it's again.
I saw a comment which basically went something along the lines of, why do Indian people hate Indian food? All the chaurastas are like 2 stars everywhere.
Yeah, because listen,
it's in our genetics to hate other brown people, man. Nobody's more critical of brown people than brown people themselves.
Exactly, and we just have to continue that. Yeah. But I do want to go quickly into a just educational segment of teaching, not just Indians, but anybody, mainly Indians, about my top 5 white phrases. Okay. At number 5, how do you like them apples? Classic. Banger. Number 4, shit or get off the pot. Something you guys should research, look into. Number 3, that's rich coming from you. Number 2, get a load of this guy. And then number 1, you're skating on thin ice, buddy. Those are my top 5 white phrases. I think that's part of the white culture that Indians need to learn about. And it's fun, man. Once they learn more about the culture of Texas, football over cricket, they're going to lean into it. But I do, want to slowly kind of move into a quick, if you want to do a quick 2-minute on the local kind of universal thing.
Yeah, we surprisingly, with this video and the subsequent video that we posted, we somehow tackled into a lot of the local DFW crowd. So something that I'm really excited about that that's going to bring additional growth to our communities and our neighborhood is a universal theme park that's opening up in Frisco. Do you guys know much about that?
Yeah. They're doing construction on Tollway.
Yeah, so I think the expected opening is May 2026, and I spent a lot of time online kind of reading about how people are feeling, the sentiments around this, and overwhelmingly very positive. But I think this is also something that is going to impact our communities. I don't know, positively, negatively. I mean, some people are saying traffic this, traffic that. DFW traffic is not the best anyway, I think, just with the influx of people moving in. But I'm really curious to see how this is going to impact the local economy. I think Frisco is predominantly known as a residential city. There aren't a ton of attractions or huge, I guess, businesses maybe that are there. And with the addition of Universal, I'm kind of concerned about the residents that live in Frisco and how that's going to impact them. Specifically, how the tourism market's going to come into Frisco and maybe overprice and outprice the residents that already exist in Frisco. So Indians are not going to be the problem. Universal is going to be a problem.
Unless they take soap and take it to the pool in the Universal Park, man, that might be a problem.
So why is Universal going to be the problem?
Well, number one, that's going to bring in additional traffic to Frisco, right? So we have a lot more people visiting the theme park. They're expected to bring some couple $1 billion in revenue like annually to Frisco. And my concern is when that happens, the local areas are going to be converted to Airbnbs and vacation rentals. Because most people, even though it's a resort, most people are going to live, you maybe get an Airbnb outside, and what that happens is that's going to boost up the property values. And the bad part about Texas is our property taxes are insanely high. And I'm concerned that that's going to outprice the residents that already live in Frisco. That's why I think it's not a good idea.
Yeah, pros and cons. I mean, it's going to generate a lot of job opportunities, both in construction and just within the park. There are going to be corporate jobs that open up because of it.
You think like if an Indian is in charge of hiring, they're going to hire all Indians to the theme park?
If it's labor work, I don't know, because they got to pick up more than like 10 pounds.
You ever seen an Indian lifeguard?
Huh?
You ever seen an Indian lifeguard?
Only in my nightmares.
No, it just adds another thing to do. it has another thing to do in Frisco
Yeah.
in the DFW area, so it's good. It's awesome. Another fun thing to do in North Dallas is take your buddies, go to a par 3 at the new PGA Tour, the PGA course.
Yeah.
Take your buddies, do a late night par 3 session. Like, that's really fun. So that's another thing we can do.
So I want to cover some basketball.
Yeah.
Specific, just Luka and LeBron. Luka and LeBron are the best duo in the NBA. To me, it's like
a big glaze.
They're the best duo in the NBA, and it's only a matter of time before the Lakers. I mean, they're playing so well right now, and they are a threat in the West. But they once Luka starts kind of getting his form, people want to say Luka's out of shape. He's fat. He's out of shape, but he's just not in form. Like, when you're in basketball form, when you're in a flow state, the size and shape of your physical body doesn't matter. If your endurance is there and your form is there, if your shot is there, your handle is there, you're going to dominate. I think he proved that last year when he played the best defensive rated team in the Minnesota Timberwolves against the defensive player of the year. Rudy Gobert hit a step back 3 to win a game and take essentially the Mavs to the finals. Now he's on the Lakers, and with LeBron together, to me, it's the best duo in the NBA. LeBron right now is playing unbelievable for his age and being in his 22nd season. It's insane how just high efficiently of the level of his play is something to marvel at. Like, he's just nasty right now. And together, I want to say it's like having a football team. Luka and LeBron are like having Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson on your offense at the same time. You have 2 quarterbacks on the court at the same time for your offense. They can do everything. They can drive the ball, pass the ball, shoot the ball. 6'8", 6'9". They're big. They're strong. They control the pace of the game. The way LeBron is forming his game around Luka's already is insane. You can make arguments that Luka might be the best teammate LeBron's ever had. They're going to make a deep run. The Lakers are a real threat. And that takes me to Patrick Dumont. Okay, Patrick Dumont is I want to break down the 3 worst owners in professional sports. At number 3, we have Patrick Dumont. And at number 2, we have Patrick Dumont. And at number 1, we have Patrick Dumont. Patrick Dumont traded Luka. He's the reason why Luka was traded. He forced the trade publicly. He came out, said, we want, whenever the Celtics won the championship and the confetti was falling, I told myself I'll never feel this again. And we want people who take their shape and body serious. And I'm going to trade LeBron. I'm going to trade Luka because I know what I'm talking about. When he really doesn't know shit about basketball. The worst owner you can have, doesn't care about anything about the city of Dallas, doesn't care about the people of Dallas. He knows nothing about basketball. He married into money. I don't know what he's good at, but basketball is definitely the furthest thing from what he's good at.
By the way, for people that are not following, Patrick Dumont is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, and hopefully our local fan base knows who that is. And if you don't know, look him up. And he acquired the team when we already had a really solid roster put together. The first full season as owners, we make it to the finals. And with a 24, 25-year-old Luka leading the way. Obviously, Boston had a more put together team. Both offensively and defensively. They're deeper. Their stars were later into their careers, kind of in their primes.
They've been in the finals.
They had been in the finals before and lost. This was us going to the finals and losing. And instead of running it back, Patrick Dumont traded the present and the future of the team by trading Luka, handed a gift to the Lakers. Obviously, people want to say Nico was the GM and Nico's the person that's in charge of making that decision. And sure, you can say that all you want. All Nico ever did before that was trade pieces and create a team around Luka. And then all of a sudden, the full year, the year that Patrick Dumont's the owner of the team, they trade him. The GMs come and go. Owners stay with your team until they sell their team, and so you're stuck with your owner. We can get rid of Nico, but we still have Patrick Dumont. This team is going to suck as long as he's the owner. He's the worst owner of all of sports, and I can't say it enough. Luka and LeBron, the best duo in the NBA. They're going to make it to the finals, I think. I predict they'll make it to the finals. I think Oklahoma City has a pesky team that's young and athletic. That's going to be a tough beat. Obviously, Denver with Jokic is always a threat. Those two are really the threats in the West for them. But I think come seven-game series, when Luka gets in form, because in playoff time he'll be in form, and he's an absolute killer. Between him and LeBron, they're going to will their way to a championship series against the Celtics. It'll be a historic Celtics versus Lakers franchise running it back. So yeah, that's my take on basketball.
You think it's sustainable what LeBron's doing? I mean, I think if you look at his stats, especially over the past couple of games, and you show it to anyone, but just hide the fact that this is LeBron, I think anyone would say this is a MVP caliber player. You know, the performance is MVP caliber, and when you add that this is, you know, LeBron in his late 30s doing this, I think it's amazing what he's been able to do. I guess we've always questioned how much longer can LeBron do it, how much longer is, you know, can he keep up that type of performance and efficiency. But NBA seasons are long. 82 games is a very long season. Then you go into the playoffs, and playoff intensity is I think there's a huge difference between regular season games and your playoff intensity. I don't know if LeBron's going to be necessarily able to keep up the type of production he's had, especially, and we've seen throughout the season, you know, he goes through spells where he's taking some time off. He's, you know, doing some type of load management, which he deserves, by the way, at his age.
I mean, he just played in a back-to-back. I think the other day, a week ago, he played in a back-to-back and dropped 40. I think to question his longevity it's like he's an aberration. It's like Tom Brady. Like, everybody was saying Tom Brady was old, and then he won another Super Bowl.
I'm afraid to even question it, but you know, it's like logical to question.
I think you should just appreciate it. I think you should watch it, appreciate it, and understand this is one of the greatest athletes of all time. I think people always, you know, pin him against Jordan. Oh, who's the greatest basketballer of all time? Michael Jordan, LeBron James. How about, like, remove that conversation and focus on LeBron and what he's accomplished on its own within the sport? There's no denying that he's one of the greatest athletes of all time, and he just continues to prove that with the play. He's still appointment television as well. You watch any of these Lakers primetime games, like last night they played, and Luka and LeBron just – Luka, again, he's not in form right now. He's not playing to his capabilities. He's not as good as what people in Los Angeles are going to get to see. I think in the beginning of the game, he had a lot of lazy turnovers, and the Laker fans got to see a Luka that's a little disconnected, and sometimes he makes these plays that really frustrate you because they're like, why would you do that? It's such a lazy turnover. But then as soon as it's crunch time and his killer instinct turns on, he hits step back threes and wills his team to exist. Makes impossible shots. And with him and LeBron, like I say, quarterbacking that team, there's so many different unconventional ways to score. And JJ Redick running, is a new age, coach, the coach of the next generation, who's a former player and understands the game in and out, and it's just like you see him smiling all the time on the bench because he's like, I can't believe I have Luka and LeBron. I'm a coach and I get to have both of them. One of them is entering their prime and the other one is like never leaving the prime. He's just always good. It makes him smile how good they are together, and it's just getting started. So it's exciting to see what they're going to, what they're gonna do together. Another big sporting related event is UFC coming up.
Wait, before we go over there, do you think LeBron's still the face of the NBA?
LeBron is still the face of the NBA. They're having conversations. It's part of like the sports dialogue right now. I think he made a comment about it's hard for any of these young people to want to take on that image of being the face of the NBA because sports media and sports culture is always pointing out at the negatives, whereas in the past they used to only hype their athletes up. They used to only make guys like Jordan feel like a superhero. They weren't always breaking down all the bad things and the wrong things, the things they weren't doing right in the moment. I think because of how much people were always so into LeBron in the age of social media and just commenting on everyone's got a voice. Everyone comments on everything. You could have a 40-point game and they're going to still say, well, you missed 4 of these shots and you did this wrong and you did that wrong. And I think he still is the face of the NBA. I think the face of the NBA has to be an American player. That's part of the
There was
conversation.
a clip, actually, I'll pull it up, where LeBron was talking about the next person who they want to be the face of the NBA. It's on.
Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis shit on everybody? That responsibility, it's just weird. It's weird energy. Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't say it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it, but I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career, not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect
I mean,
basically, Anthony Edwards declined it and said, "I don't want to be the face of the NBA."
well, the issue with that is that Anthony Edwards isn't the best player in the NBA. So usually the face of the league is one of, if not the top 3 players in the league. And right now, there are arguments that the top 3 players are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and maybe Giannis, maybe Luka. Right? These are all international players, and part of it is I think Anthony Edwards understands that he's not one of the top players, so he's like, I'm not the best right now, so I don't want to be the face of the league. And then the conversation starts becoming about, like LeBron's comments are like, everyone's hating, that's why he doesn't want to be it. But in reality, if he was really the best player, if his team was really the team that was going to go for the championship, I think then he would adopt that and become the face. Because when you're the face, you get all the deals, you get all the sponsorships, you get everything, you become a billionaire essentially. That's what that means. Like that's the implications. Obviously Steph, he's an American player. That's awesome, but his career kind of was at the same time as LeBron's, and he hasn't necessarily passed that torch to another American player, and it can't necessarily even be Anthony Edwards because, again, Anthony Edwards is just not the best player of the league. And
they've tried, right? I think they've tried to position a few players to be the face of the league. I think, and Anthony Edwards, they've definitely tried. Right. They tried with John Morant as well. They've tried with Zion.
But it's different. They didn't they covered them. They were highly touted athletes coming in, but the face of the league is always someone, again, who all the other competitors know that all the other basketball players know, like, he's the best basketball player. Like, and Anthony Edwards is up there, but he's not really.
KD was there for a few years. He was
never the face of the league has been LeBron.
But LeBron was also, I think
it's been LeBron since it's been LeBron. When he took the baton from essentially Kobe, that era.
I would argue like maybe the 20s. 14 to maybe 16, 17, maybe Steph Curry in those years with the rivalry between the Warriors and the Cavs.
Totally.
I think that is probably the only time we've seen.
He captured a new audience for sure because he was like a smaller looking guy, like everyday kind of kid thought that they could be Steph Curry. So there was a level of like sharing the baton with LeBron, but LeBron has always had it. And passing it down to the next person's been difficult because it's international players and the social media, sports media culture right now is very denigrating, and that's part of it. But again, I'm excited to see how the season ends. I think Lakers go all the way and make it to the championship, and then it's a fun, exciting series between the Lakers and the Celtics. But another big thing coming up, we're filming on Saturday. On the 1st, but on the 8th, next Saturday, is UFC 313. So I know we're excited about that, being UFC fans here. The main card starts off with King Green and Mauricio Rufy. Are you guys familiar with these fighters?
Not so much Mauricio, but King Green I've been watching. He's a fun fighter.
So who do you think is going to win?
I think King is.
I think really
Mauricio
Rufy is going to destroy him.
He is?
Mauricio Rufy is one of 4 of the fighting nerds. It's going to be John Silva, Carlos Prates, Caio Barajo, and Mauricio Rufy, and they're all savages. They're undefeated. It's the best camp in the UFC right now. Mauricio Rufy is going to dominate King Green, and he's going to establish himself as a real problem in the lightweight. He's an absolute dog. There's Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. We're going to go ahead and skip that one. Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes. This is also a super exciting fight. Ignacio is up and coming lightweight fighter out of Chile. He's really solid, super well rounded. And then Jalen Turner is who I once thought a top 5 type contender for the weight class. He had some tough losses, but he's a total knockout threat. He's a big lightweight. He's a big dude. He's tall, has the reach and just the knockout potential. So it's even money on the books. Could go either way. I don't have like a firm stance on who I think's going to win. I would choose Jalen because Jalen, to me, he's somebody I like more. Ultimately, I have a bias towards him, and I think he has the knockout power. So it's going to be a good like action fight. There's going to be a lot of action in this fight. I don't think it's going to go all the way. If anything, if you're going to pick this fight, pick the under. Justin Gaethje and Rafael Vasiv, they're going to be the co-main for the night. It was originally booked as Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. That fight was going to be such a scrap. Everybody was excited to watch that because both of them just go to war. And unfortunately, Hooker broke his hand in training camp and had to drop out. There was a lot of different, ideas of maybe Ilya would step up and fight Justin. They had different people in mind to come in.
Arman was there.
Arman was there. Yeah. Charles. Even a Dustin Poirier rematch. Yeah. There was a lot, and then we ended up getting Fasiv. That's like the least exciting, to be honest. They've already fought before. It was a decent fight. Like, it was pretty fun. Fasiv brings the action too. Justin pretty much dominated him in that fight, but they're going to run it back. Of all the options, it's probably the one that I wasn't as excited about, but it's still a Gaethje fight, so it's still something to get excited about. And Fasiv, he brings the action too, so
I have a question for you guys.
It's not the worst.
So when Hooker dropped out, I believe they made calls to a few fighters. Like you said, Charles was there, Arman was there, and maybe even Ilya. But what do you think about the UFC being so hard on Arman? Because we still don't know why he dropped out of his fight with, like, the real reason why he dropped out of his fight with Islam. I think he said back pain, some type of injury. Most people think it's, there's a conspiracy out there that it's weight related, that he wasn't able to make weight. Typically, whenever a fighter is able to, fighters willing to step in at the last minute to save kind of a co-main or even a main, the UFC makes concessions, right? Particularly about weight, especially this close to the fight, where they allow you maybe some type of catch weight, for you to be able to come in, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever that number is, heavier, as long as it's not a championship fight. What I saw online was that Arman said, yes, I will take this fight. I'll go fight Gaethje, but since we're this close to the event, give me 160. Allow me to come in at 160 and I'll go take it, which to me doesn't sound very unreasonable. And the UFC has set a precedence that they're willing to do that, and they have done it before. I'm surprised that they weren't able to do it. Do you guys think they're being hard on him because of the ball he dropped with the Islam fight? Because that was supposed to be a banger. They were really hoping it would do numbers, and kind of last minute he just dropped out.
Yeah, I do think that they're kind of like, this doesn't. You don't decide if you're going to fight, like we decide.
Yeah. And
fighters that cut a lot of weight, they do end up getting injured, and that's like a normal thing. So back pain, leaving a fight because of back pain or dropping out of a fight because of back pain due to the weight cut, I think is very normal. Khabib dropped out of a couple of fights because of the cutting the weight too. So it's something that you do see. Arman does drop a lot of weight, so it definitely was weight related, and he shouldn't decide when he shouldn't just jump into a fight like that. He should have like a full camp before he fights, for sure.
Yeah, but he was willing to, and I think the UFC's concern was if he does beat Gaethje, then they have to give him a title shot again, right? And maybe they want to make that point, like you said, that we're in control, you're not, and you'll fight when we say you fight, and you'll do what we say.
The issue is that his fight was in Anaheim, and there's like a big Armenian or community in Anaheim that he was essentially like the card was almost tailored to his home court. He was fighting. It was like a home court advantage, and I think Islam's a badass because that's what he does. He goes to Australia, fights Volk. Yeah. He goes to Anaheim to fight.
He was willing to fight Charles in Brazil.
He was willing to fight Charles in Brazil.
Yeah.
He goes to Anaheim to fight the homie Armin, and he just last minute he dropped out like day of, and all that fight. It just, we don't know the details, but doing that is just going to put a stain on your resume regardless.
Absolutely.
Like you got to thug it out and figure it out. And obviously if you're hurt and you're going against a guy like Islam, like it's like you want to feel as good as you possibly can going into that fight. So I can understand, but I can understand why he dropped out because he was hurt, but I could also understand why the UFC is like, all right, well now you have to kind of like earn it with one like solid win. It's not like they're like, okay, you need to go on another like fight streak to get a shot. Right. You just got to get another solid win against a top contender, and then you'll be lined up for your title shot again. But yeah, I mean, they didn't give him Gaethje. I wanted Gaethje and either Dustin or Gaethje and Charles or Gaethje and Ilya, maybe even. I mean, there
were a lot of options that could have been.
There are a lot of options, and they were even throwing out Jean Silva. They wanted Jean Silva because there's like a huge rush of fans that love him. They want, Gaethje's got only a few fights left in his UFC career, and real UFC fans want to see the best possible fights for him, and I'm with that too. I want to see him fight the best of the best. So that one should be exciting. And then the championship fight. Is Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. We talked about this a little bit. It's a super intriguing fight. Magomed is coming off a win streak. He's the number one contender. He is somebody that felt like he deserved this for a while now, and a lot of fans can make an argument that he did. There are also fans that say that he's kind of a boring, one-trick pony type of fighter that, we don't want to watch, and the entertainment value isn't there. Alex obviously is super entertaining. I think the books have it pretty even money right now, with Alex being a slight favorite. I think leading into the fight, that'll probably change. It is Ramadan, and Magomed is Muslim, so he's fighting while he's fasting for the month of Ramadan, which makes him a savage for taking it. He's like, hey, they're not going to give it to me any other way, and that's probably one of the wrinkles that they had to throw on top of it just for him to get the fight. And he was like, I don't give a shit, like, give it to me, I want it. That level of conviction and willpower is scary. He's got a chip on his shoulder, that's scary. He's obviously a really well-rounded fighter, but just strong grappling presence, which I think everyone who's attempted to take Alex Pereira down in their fights has taken him down. So it is a little scary for in terms of matchups, but Alex has the nuclear power in his hooks, his hands, his feet, his legs, his knees. He can win a lot of different ways when the fight's standing up. His calf kick is one of a kind. It's going to potentially destroy Magomed's leg. That's what happened when Magomed fought Jan. His leg got destroyed from those calf kicks. There's times earlier in the promotion for this where Magomed said, hey, I'm willing to stand and bang. Everyone says that to get the fight against Alex because he is a draw. We'll see when we get there, once he eats a couple calf kicks, if he's willing to stand through that, or if his instincts take him to what's the closest path of victory. I think he's
going on the ground. 30 seconds, he's shooting for a takedown.
Yeah, I think after a couple of those calf kicks, he's going to shoot. He is a little underrated with the striking. He is a good striker, but Alex is like elite in that part of it. So I like Alex to win this. I'm going with Alex. I think it's better for the UFC. I think there's more entertainment value to him winning, and there's more opportunity for exciting fights to come after.
Only one after this.
For sure. My heart wants Alex. My head says Magomed. I'm going with my heart on this one. And outside of that, other kind of UFC news. They're rumoring Tom versus John Jones. Tom Aspinall versus John Jones is being rumored. There's already early odds that are coming out on that fight. They got Tom Aspinall as the favorite, the betting favorite. So I thought that was interesting. They matched Bryce Mitchell with John Silva, which is also an interesting fight. John Silva won last week and essentially on the mic said, UFC, let me take care of your problem. Give me Bryce Mitchell. I'll take care of him for you, because of the recent comments that Bryce Mitchell made
He's
about.
hilarious.
He's hilarious. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bryce, we want you on the pod. Like you're total gold. Like anything you want to talk about, flat earth, Arkansas, Texas, Indians, whatever you want to talk about. Are there Indians in Arkansas? Can you tell us about that? We could talk about that too. We could talk about whatever, but it's exciting to see that fight. I actually, I'm a big Fighting Nerds fan. Obviously, I'm a big John Silva fan, but I want Bryce to win. I think Bryce can win. I think the odds came out for that fight, and he's a pretty heavy underdog. But Bryce is just hilarious to me. Obviously, he said some problematic things. I don't care so much for that, but just overall, he's just like a really funny guy. And I love how he, stands on business for Arkansas, and he's such an Arkansas guy through and through. And people who have pride for their land like that, I appreciate. No matter who it is and for what it's for. I do want to wrap up with the UFC stuff real quick and go into a quick, my top 3 fighters that aren't in the UFC that we want to see in the UFC. And these aren't MMA fighters per se. They're different fighting type practitioners. At number 3, I have Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford's a boxer. He's shown that he can wrestle. He's got a little bit of wrestling history, but he's like an elite boxer. He's a scrapper. I think the Riyadh team is trying to get him and Canelo Alvarez set up for a boxing match, but it would be really awesome to see him cross over into the UFC and fight in the UFC and see if his elite boxing can win him matches in mixed martial arts. Number 2, I have Gable Stevenson. Gable Stevenson is a gold medal wrestler. He's a big dude. He would fight at heavyweight. He's dominant in the wrestling sphere. There's narratives right now about how American wrestling, American gold wrestling, D1, high caliber wrestling is no longer a big of a threat in the UFC as it used to be, as the fighters are getting more evolved and fighting back against that narrative. A lot of wrestlers are losing. Tatiana Suarez more recently, Henry Cejudo more recently. So this narrative is being attacked. And then at number 1, clear-cut number 1 for me is Gordon Ryan. I mean, Gordon Ryan is the world's most prominent, high-level
He's not fighting
BJJ practitioner. He's John Danaher coach. He's chess mind, elite level mental athlete, elite level physical athlete. He does take a little bit of PEDs to juice up to be in top form. So really those are my top 3. Those are my top 3 if you guys want to debate that.
Bo Nickal's one of the top wrestlers that are in the UFC in terms of accomplishments in wrestling. Does he have a fight that's scheduled?
I don't know. Let me check. I don't think he has any. I think they're talking about Bo Nickal, and
I think they're building up Bo versus Hamzat a little bit. In interviews, I see Bo kind of talking about that being an interesting fight.
So there's a fighter that joined the card recently. His name is I don't want to butcher his name. Day Ritter. He's from. De Ritter is from one champion. He came in. He just beat Kevin Holland pretty convincingly. And so they're talking about matching them up. And this would definitely be Bo Nickal's toughest challenge by far. He's fought a bunch of cans, and he hasn't looked that dominant in those fights. So I'm excited to see.
That's a fun fight.
I'm excited to see that.
Shout out to Allen High School.
Shout out to Allen. Bo Nickal, Allen's finest, UFC star. We're big Bo Nickal fans here, so it's exciting to see that. The last sports segment I want to cover is cricket. We are a cricket podcast. We're actually the world's #1 cricket podcast. And recently, the Afghan team upset the English team with an awesome win. The Afghan team is led by Rashid Khan, who's like an OG kind of legend of the sport. He's a player of the last decade. He's kind of one of the veterans. And then we got some young talent in Azmatullah Omarzai, who is ICC Men's Cricketer of the Year in 2024. He's an absolute stud. The Afghans are taking over the world of cricket. We're better than any other country, especially India. They can't touch us in cricket. We just picked up the sticks and the balls, and we're throwing the shit like it's just like in our DNA to just be better athletes than you guys. So we're taking over the sport. That's my cricket segment.
Brother, you're going to start a war over this.
Segment clip.
Afghanistan is probably...
You got a 45-second clip out of that.
Afghanistan's cricket team is ranked top 12.
They're 12. We just started. We literally just started the sport.
No, Afghanistan had a cricket team for a long time.
For how long?
Long time.
How
Bro,
long?
we've been in war for 30 years. Bro.
Yeah, man.
We're longer than that. 50 years.
picking
Not
up
the people that are playing cricket.
No, I know, but to say that from all the political and war that they've gone,
Afghanistan had ever since I've watched cricket, like 2006, 2005, like they've had a cricket team, and they're kind of middle of the pack, you know, not the best, not the worst, but nothing compared to India. Come on, man, I cannot let you slander. You guys are making me like an India fanboy on this episode.
Okay, so the Afghan team was established in 1995. We literally just got started doing this shit.
When was the Indian team established?
When do you think?
A few years before, maybe like 90, 80, something like that.
You're crazy, bro. 1721.
No,
These guys have been
man,
playing since the 1800s.
In 1848, bro.
Bro, they've been
Bombay
playing
cricket
cricket for hundreds of years. We just picked up the stick and we hit the fucking ball further than the Indian guys ever hit the ball.
1932, first test match, 1932.
No, they've been playing.
Brother, 1932.
17.
That's almost 100 years, bro.
That's
We literally just started. We saw the stick on the ground. We picked it up. We hit it far, and we were like, "This is what these fools are doing. This is so much easier." Salina, people in Salina, my Texans, move from baseball to cricket. You guys will dominate and completely like destroy the rest of the people playing cricket. Yeah, that's my cricket take. I don't have much more on cricket.
Yeah, there you go. We'll finish the cricket take at that. We wanna move on to your top 5.
Yeah. Let's do. I want y'all's thoughts on Trump's recent interview with the Ukrainian president. Insane. I've never seen a U.S. president speak to another president like this. So this is an insane clip.
Yeah, this was insane to see. I mean, I don't know whose side I'm on. I mean, we have Ukraine coming into America, who has, I think, shown a lot of support until now, prior to the Trump administration, in their efforts to defend their land and their country against Russia, who has been really the initiator of this conflict, right? This war. But at the same time, you know, I saw people saying, you know, we're the ones defending you, so show some respect. I don't think I saw anything Zelensky did that was disrespectful. I think he's fighting for his country, fighting for his people, what he's supposed to do. And as Americans, we were formed under the concept of individual freedom and the ability to go fight and defend your land. I don't see I don't see why.
Why does the U.S. taxpayer have to fund Ukrainian war that are ending in a bunch of Ukrainians?
Yeah, we don't have to fund.
A bunch of Ukrainians, innocent Ukrainians dying. Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense.
I agree with the financial part. Maybe we could make the argument that we don't have to fund. I think the counter argument to that is we have allies across the globe, and I think it's our responsibility to go and defend and protect our allies the same way they supported us when we needed back in World War II and any other future subsequent wars. I think political diplomacy across the globe is a very important topic to maintain good relationships with nations, right? And I think us not doing so, particularly with Ukraine, has caused a big strain with our relationship in Europe, right? The French prime minister has come out and gone against what we're trying to do and expressively said Europe is going to do everything that they can to go protect Ukraine, right? I think diplomacy is important. I think maintaining relationships is also important. Whether how we do it, you know, you could make the argument it doesn't have to be financial, but what should not be debatable is us agreeing with Ukraine's decision to go fight and defend their land. And I think that's where, I think the current administration maybe is pushing the initiative a little bit, saying, even making some comments saying, you're a dictator, you initiated this, just go compromise with them. Ukraine is defending their land that is being stolen from them illegally. That is their right. And there's nothing more American than fighting and defending yourself. And to us, we should look at them and we should respect and we should appreciate that. And to me personally, we should support that initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like the guy to go to for geopolitics. Like, I just know that in this interview, Zelensky under his breath said "suka" and called J.D. Vance a bitch in Ukrainian.
Wait, did he?
Yeah, and there's a clip of that which we could find. Like, it's in this interview. It's just a part of it where he kind of subtly says that. Ultimately, sending tax dollars overseas for other wars is getting like super tired. Every American citizen's getting tired of it. Whatever country it is, whether it's Ukraine or Israel, I don't think people want to see the constant funding of wars and death. And the sooner we can cut that off, the better. That's just my opinion on it.
Tamiem, you have some top 5 lists for us this week?
Yeah. Let's go run through this. All right. I got 2 for us.
All right.
So it's the top 3 cities in the U.S. where women outnumber men.
Top 3 cities in U.S. where women outnumber men.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
I might have to move there soon. Psych.
You already looked up housing costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there a lot of traffic accidents in those cities too?
Actually, they look like. I mean, number one's definitely a dangerous city. So I mean,
Detroit?
Close, very close.
Flint.
No.
All right, go ahead. Run through 3.
Number 3 is Philadelphia.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So if you're trying to find some women, maybe you should move to Philadelphia. Number 2 is Atlanta.
Wow.
Yep. And then number 1 is Baltimore. Yeah. I totally
I don't know if those are places
If
you'd want to move
anyone
to.
is from Philadelphia, Atlanta, Baltimore, from viewing this video, if you guys can confirm whether or not there's a lot more girls than guys, I'll be really interested to hear. The second list that I have is the top 3 countries with the lowest divorce rate.
Top 3. So I think logically I'd assume that maybe a Muslim country would be there. Maybe even a Hindu country like
2 are in Africa and 1 is in Asia.
Indonesia.
No.
Ooh. India.
India's number 1.
Let's go.
Number 1, lowest divorce rate in the whole world. Lowest country with the lowest divorce rate. So, I mean, I guess what that means is that if you're trying to have a long-lasting marriage, you need to move to Frisco or the Colony or honestly, Prosper, trying to find you a girl that's gonna stay, bro. These people will stay till the end.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Kenya, and number 2 is Mozambique.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. There goes my list.
Last thing that we want to say before we conclude is we want our platform to be a platform where we can go talk about topics regardless of how sensitive they are and be able to share our opinions, whether we agree or disagree with a certain narrative. And despite our opinions on the comments that were left in our video, I think people choosing to engage with us and share their thoughts, we definitely respect that. And we hope that you guys continue to do the same, and that will give us, I think, an outside perspective on the topics that we're talking about. But that's been episode 4 or 5 of our podcast. We appreciate you guys listening in. If you don't already follow us on the socials, do so. We post content every day, and you're able to see and engage with the other followers that we have. So thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.